In this video, I'm going to show you how to make all kinds of great, fun little toys for your rats out of cheap or free things that you already have laying around your house, like toilet paper rolls, paper towels, and even recycled boxes. All things that you would just probably throw away or recycle anyway, things you can give them so much more fun and enrichment in their lives for free. Alright, so in order to make our toilet paper roll foraging toys for rats, here's what we're going to need. Some toilet paper rolls, some food. If you have some dry treats to put in there too, those are great. I don't have any at the moment, but if you have some of those, those are great. Putting fresh fruit or baby food into these can make them kind of gross, so it might be easier to just stick with like a couple of some little dry treats. But they also love, even if you only have regular food, they also love having to hunt for it. It makes it more fun for them. So also we'll need some scissors for one thing that we're going to do with it, but you don't have to have that to do all of the things. We will also need paper towels for one thing, but they're not required. The only thing you need to have for sure are the toilet paper rolls and the food. So one thing we can do is start by pinching in one side, and usually 3 or 4 pinches will do it. You just want to close it up so that no food is going to easily come out of it. Okay? And then, to just do it the simplest way possible, drop a few pieces of food in there and pinch in the other end. And there you go. Now that they're going to hear the food in there, and you see Sistine right there. She's like, ooh, I know what that is. I want to come check this out. So that is the simplest, easiest thing to do, and they will just have a great time figuring out how to pull these things open. And the funny thing is, rats are so smart. Eventually, these are still good, but eventually they will be less interesting because they will know how to open them really easily. So you can start doing things to make it a little bit more complicated. One of those things to help it take a little bit more time is go ahead and pinch in the ends again, and then this time take some paper towel bits. So I've just got a paper towel and I'm just going to tear some strips. Paper towels are safe for them. They don't eat them. They just like to play with them and make nests with them. So I'm going to take a strip and put it in here to help further block that in, so nothing is going to easily come out of there. They're going to, if they open this end first, they're going to have to pull the paper towels out of there before they can get to the food. Now I'm going to drop in a couple of pieces and then stuff some more paper towel in there. This is just something that's going to make it take a little bit longer for them to get to the goodies. So stuff plenty of paper towels in there. A little bit more food, and this is a great time to put in a little dry treat or two in the middle portion. So there we've got a few layers, and we're going to pinch that in again, and there we go. That one is just a little bit more fun, a little bit slightly more challenging. And then one other thing we can do is basically make like a treat ball like you can buy for a cat or a dog at the store. So what we'll do is pinch one side and cut a little piece out, and you want to cut a piece that's slightly smaller than your food. This is a little tricky, but we're going to do this so that it is a little bit more challenging for them to get the food out. And I probably made this one a little bit closer than I needed to this end, so a little bit more towards the middle would probably be smarter. So the goal in making these a little bit smaller than the food is so once a piece of food starts coming through it, it'll be a little more challenging for them to actually get the food out. Because if the food is bigger than the hole, the food will be a little bit harder to remove from the hole, and they will have to either make the food bigger, or they might make the hole bigger, or they might lose the piece of food. You don't even have to take your little triangle out. You can just leave it, and that makes it even a little bit more challenging for them to be able to get it out. So you make a couple of those holes, 2 to 4, and then go ahead and pinch in one end, And I'm going to go ahead and add some paper towels to this one to make it a little bit more challenging, since there are holes that could make it easier potentially if they started pulling them through there first. So there you can see there's delicious food right there. They just have to play with it to be able to get it out. And there you have it. Multiple fantastic, fun ways to make foraging toys with toilet paper rolls. And here is yet another way we can use a toilet paper roll to make a fun toy for rats. This is not going to be one where we pinch in the sides. This is going to be what I call a toilet paper ring ball. So what you're going to do is pinch your toilet paper roll a bit and cut it into strips about half an inch wide or so. Now once you have all of your little strips, open them back up again into little circles. And you'll start with one and just place another one over it, like so. And then place another one over it however it wants to go. You might have to finagle it a little bit, but it'll start looking kind of like a weaved ball, like a basket kind of. And then do another one, and you'll just do this over and over until it is pretty much, you could maybe squish another couple of them on there, but that's pretty full. Now it's still pretty easy to slide some of these pieces. We want to make it a little bit more challenging for them, but to start with, we'll go ahead and fill this little opening with some food. Once again, a great time for some dry treats. You could also stick a paper towel in here to make it more challenging. So there we have it. There's a lot of big openings still though, so I'm going to try to put another one of these on here and just squish it until it all fits. Doesn't have to be a perfect ball. The rats don't care. They just want to have a good time playing with their food. The more challenging foraging toys are, the more fun they are for the animals, as long as they understand them. You may have to start with easier versions at first, but most animals, especially rats, are a lot smarter than we give them credit for, and they will eventually figure things out, and it can eventually even get a little bit bored of the same foraging toys over and over again. So here, now that we have used up all the strips, there's not really as many big holes. It's going to be a lot harder for food to come all the way out. You see this piece is just like the corners a little bit coming out. But there you go. You can hear it jingling. And let's see. I know. Somebody, yep, Sistine, she knows what this is. Here she is coming. She's wanting it. She's going to get this in just a minute. So that is another thing you can do with paper towel rolls or toilet paper rolls. Here is yet another super easy toy to make, and it's super cheap. You just need a paper towel. So if you have a half paper towel, cut it or fold it in half. If you have a bigger paper towel, you might want to fold it in quarters, and then you can either tear or cut so that it is roughly a square. It doesn't really matter how big it is. The main thing is you just want to make sure that you have a square to work with. So set your other one aside, take your square, put a few little foods in the middle, fold one corner just to cover the food, fold the other side, and then fold the second side so that it looks like this. So you've got this little pocket right here. And then you take the tail, fold the tail into the pocket, and there you have a little paper towel envelope with food inside. And one more time, how to fold it. You're going to fold this one first, like about that much, and then you're going to fold the first side so that it's basically coming in about 1/3 of the way, so it will look like this. Oops. And then you'll fold the other side the other 1/3 of the way. And if you want, you can just fold in this little corner that we don't really need, but it doesn't really matter whether you do that or not. I just like to. And then the tail comes over to the pocket and gets squished into the little pocket. And there you have it, little paper towel envelope. Another really great, cheap toy that you can make with stuff you already have is a little hide, a little box that they can use as a hide, or if you have a really small box, you can also just make it another foraging toy in the exact same way. But ones they can also use as hides give them more things to play with in their cage that are new, and they can go in there and sleep. They can tear it to bits and make nests out of the cardboard, or they can make nests inside the paper towels. So what we're going to do is just provide them some paper towel strips. So to do this, I have a couple paper towels. I'm just lining them up together and just tearing some strips out of them really quick. And then I'll kind of just separate these, fluff them out some, and stuff them into my little cardboard box. And this is a cardboard box I just raided from my pantry. I went in, I saw that there were a couple of half full cracker sleeves in here, so I just pulled those out, left them in the pantry by themselves, and stole this little box. So I'm throwing in more paper towels to just make it slightly more challenging to get to the food. Throwing in some food, and you can put these in without making them foraging toys. You don't have to include food. They can just have these to play with, but I like to make it as fun and full of goodies as I can. And then we're going to just close this up. And now they have the further challenge of getting it open. And I'm not recommending brands or anything here. This is just a box that I had handy. But now you can hear it's got some delicious yummies in there. And it is full of nesting materials, and they have to mess with it to get it open. So even more fun for them. So one other thing that you can do is have an extra piece of fleece. This one has clearly been used before, and you can make a little hide without doing any sewing. You can just take it, and if you have, I'm going to use this corner of this little ledge, but you could also use a corner of a cage, like this corner here if you have a smaller cage, for example. And first step is to remove anyone sitting inside of it, and you're going to take these two opposite corners, so these two corners far away from each other, and I'm going to put them through this little piece of wire and tie them in a knot. And it does not have to be anything perfect or precise. This is just for the ratties, and they don't need it to be perfect. So we have that knot, so then we've got this open piece here, and then we're going to take this open piece facing out and just tuck it in however you want. You can tuck it into the wires, you can tuck it into the knot, and then you've got this great little hidey hole, little hammock kind of thing, and you don't have to do any sewing. And we can see this little one is already having a good time hiding out in it. And as always, I'm going to grab some little food bits from somebody's stash up here. Adding some food in there can motivate shy ratties to give it a try and see what they think about it.